there is a poem called Birdfoot's Grandpa. Birdfoot's Grandpa. It's about a boy and his grandfather who are driving down a country road in a rainstorm. And the grandfather stops. He gets out of the truck in the pouring rain, and he scoops up handfuls of toads and carries them safely to the roadside and puts them down. He gets back in the truck, and they go on their way. And he stops again, because there are more toads. Toads are all over the road. And he gets out, scoops up the toads, carries them to the side of the road. Well, this goes on 24 times. And at the 24th time, the boy loses his patience and says, "Grandpa, you can't save them all. Accept it. Get back in. We've got places to go." And the grandpa, standing knee-deep in wet grass, his hands full of toads, simply looks at his grandson and smiles and says, "They have places to go too." So now, in the sanctuary of your own mind, without puffing yourself up and without making yourself small, ask yourself this question: am I closer to the grandson or the grandpa? How many toads would I move? We all have places to go. You have a place to go? Not right now, but you have a place to go? Yeah, we all do. Every one of us. And not one of us is going to get wherever it is we're going alone. None of us is going to get there alone. You and I were born into this world in a state of total dependence. We may have spent much of our youth yearning for our independence. I can't wait till I grow up. I can't wait till I can drive. I can't wait till I can drive. You know. And when we begin to spiritually mature, we come to realize our utter dependence on everyone and everything. Where does the gospel say God is? Everywhere. And I mean, the gospel says where God is in many ways. But one of the most poetic and poignant and human ways I ever heard it expressed is wherever two or more are gathered. Wherever two or more are gathered. That's where God is. That statement has always been very telling for me. We have embarked upon a journey with a stated destination. A stated destination. And that destination is becoming at peace with the reality that we live in an ever-changing world Everything is always in flux. Everything is always in motion. We yearn for predictability and stability, and the reality is the world goes on in a groundless state. And still, it's life. It's your life and my life. That's what our life is. That's the reality that we share in this human experience, spiritual beings though we are. If it's different for you, let's set up a session. I'm going to listen. And I'm here as a student of life. And I stand here as a seeker. Through the inspiration of Pema Chodron's wonderful book, Living Beautifully with Uncertainty and Change, we have been doing one of at least two things. We've either been looking at or taking, because here you always have a choice. You can consider or you can embrace. We've been looking at the three vows, or the three commitments of the Tibetan Buddhist tradition. And a couple weeks ago, many of us took the first vow, the Pratamoksha vow, which is the vow not to cause harm to the best of our ability. Not to cause harm to the best of our ability. The second vow, the Bodhisattva vow, which we're focusing on today, is the commitment to take care of everything and everyone. And the third vow, the Samaya vow, is the vow to embrace life just as it is, without bias. And when we practice any one or more of these three vows, when we practice them, and what's the road to spiritual evolution and spiritual growth? It's the same when it gets you to Carnegie Hall. Practice. So whether you want to grow spiritually or you want to go to Carnegie Hall, you got to practice. The practice of any one or more of these vows, these commitments, will bring you into a condition where you can accept more and more of life as it comes, in all of its forms, with its ups, its downs, and its in-betweens. That is the absolute guaranteed promise of these practices. And so if you're willing, please join me now in taking this Bodhisattva vow. And you don't need to be a card-carrying Buddhist to do this. I've never seen a Buddhist card, so I don't know that they exist. They probably do somewhere in the void. But the vow is this: I commit to taking care of all beings everywhere. If you choose to, join me now. I commit to taking care of all beings everywhere. So to be clear, which beings are we taking care of? All. And where? Everywhere. Okay. Did you hear what you just said? Did you? Think about it. How do you feel inside having made that commitment? You just committed to taking care of all beings everywhere. Responsible.
How is it possible?
Yeah. This is going, how is it possible? Phrased another way, impossible. I'm feeling impossible. Daunting, heavy, crazy. Shantideva is the Buddhist master who created these three vows. He's the one that wrote them down and started teaching them. And he said He said, I'm quoting, "When I made that vow, it was clearly insanity." It was clearly insanity because even though he was unaware of it when he first took that vow, he was as mired down in human perception. He was as confused about how to do it as any one of us. And yet, he took the vow. And you know what? So did many, if not everyone here. We took the same vow. So are we crazy? Or crazy good? You know what I'm voting for. Crazy good.